The Australian Aussie rules football players coming over and kicking in American football, I enjoy. I think they've innovated the game. I think they helped me out immensely. I did the end over end kick.
American football has always been to us Aussies very American. Not only was the NFL not marketed or broadcasted towards Aussies for much of its existence, but Australia's best athletes weren't interested in the NFL. Preoccupied with trying to play professionally in the country's popular Aussie rules football, rugby league or rugby union sporting codes. That was the narrative until really the early 2010s when an influx of Aussies infiltrated the NFL with one thing in common: a proficiency with the boot. Amongst the various Aussie success stories, there are none more fascinating than the journey of Australian punter Lou Hedley. We begin in 1993 in Lehman, a small fishing town in Western Australia about 3 hours from the city of Perth. Hedley spent much of his young life fishing with his father and playing Aussie rules football. With a population of just 700 people, Hedley would be bunched with his brother, 3 years his elder, in one class at Lehman Primary School. He remained in Lehman until the age of 10 before moving to the regional city of Mandurah, an hour from Perth, where he was exposed to more of a metropolitan lifestyle. It was here that love for Aussie rules football grew, with Hedley joining the Mandurah Mustangs and South Mandurah Falcons. He won a local premiership with the Falcons and had real aspirations of featuring in the AFL. In that pursuit of an AFL career though, his grades began to falter, resulting in Hedley dropping out of high school at the age of 17. He would first work with his older brother at a roofing company where he lasted about a year before the combination of the Australian heat and taking orders from his big brother became too much. His next opportunity intertwined with both footy and a job, with Hedley agreeing to sign with the Western AFL side, the Peel Thunder, which assured him a scaffolding job. Whilst featuring at fullback for the Peel Thunder reserve side in the WAFL competition, Hedley realised that he wasn't going to crack the AFL and decided to put his entire focus into his newfound career of scaffolding. Hedley would embark on a 7-year career scaffolding across Western Australia, erecting structures for projects. This included scaffolding at mines and power plants for companies like Chevron and aluminium refineries, where he was often in high danger situations. Hedley would say, "I pretty much lived in a harness way off the ground for 7 years of my life. It was all good fun and allowed me to stay fit while I worked. You'd fly out there for 28 days and you'd have 6 days off. They'd put you in this caravan to sleep in, 12 hours a day, 100 plus degrees in those tanks. You just have a camelback on, put a fly net on and go about your business." Although hard work, Hedley was making upwards of $120,000 per year, and for a kid who dropped out of high school was doing incredibly well for himself. In 2016, he decided to move to Bali, Indonesia, after 7 years of scaffolding to enjoy the fruits of his labour. It was here in Bali where Hedley became the co-owner of the Rosemary Tattoo Parlour, with tattoos a passion of his from the age of 16, where he got his first secretly in Hong Kong. The passion project of the tattoo shop and the coastal living that Bali provided, it seemed Hedley was living the dream at just 23 years of age. After a year though, he wanted more and thought of travelling through Europe and using the money he had amassed from scaffolding. Before that though, he needed to see just one thing through: a trial with Pro Kick Australia. See, despite Hedley's success with scaffolding, he still had the desire to compete in sport professionally. Hedley possessed an absolute bomb of a right boot and had been urged from friends and family for years to pursue a career in the NFL. He would fly down to Melbourne to make one last attempt at a sporting career. If he was successful, he'd stay. If he wasn't, he'd fly off to Europe and let go of his sporting aspirations once and for all. Hedley's trial at the Pro Kick Australia program was successful, and although he possessed little knowledge of American football, he knew that this was the place to be. Pro Kick Australia had already placed 60 punters into Division 1 colleges, with some of these going on to make the NFL. In fact, from 2013 to 2017, the Ray Guy Award was given to the best punter in college football, with all the recipients being Aussies who had attended Nathan Chapman's and John Smith's Pro Kick Australia. Hedley joined in March of 2017 and went all in, perfecting his craft each week. It was clear almost immediately that he had the physical attributes to make the jump to the United States, but it was his academic situation that complicated matters. With Hedley not completing high school, he would have to go to a junior college and amass the grades needed to qualify for a major university. He would receive an offer with the City College of San Francisco in July of 2017 and made the 14,000-kilometre trek to the United States. With Hedley on a student visa, he would be unable to gain any employment, and to accrue as much money as possible, he sold his stake in the tattoo shop before heading over to San Francisco. To save money, Hedley stayed in a 12-person share house with other athletes, a long way away from his 1-year-old son and family in Australia. During his time at the City College, where he impressed, not only did Hedley have a super boot, but was also a physical specimen, coming in at 193 centimetres and 100 kilograms. His agility and physicality from his Aussie rules days allowed offensive coordinators to use him as an attacking threat, rather than just a punter on 4th down. Punters in American football were often recognised as whimsical and one-dimensional, but due to that Aussie rules background, many Australians thrived, and it's why they make up 1/3 of punters across Division I colleges across the United States. Still with little understanding of the sport, Hedley did his job well in his first year, with Division I colleges flocking to see the punter in action. He decided to redshirt his sophomore year at San Francisco, meaning he would stay off the field for a year to save a year of his college eligibility. During this year, Hedley focused solely on his academics and his strength, spending considerable time in the weight room. He spent much of his strength training group with offensive linemen, often the strongest players on a team, and would end up with a GPA well over 3.0. On February 6 of 2018, Hedley would announce his decision on Twitter to join the decorated college football program of the University of Miami. This post would garner national attention as fans became enamored with the jacked punter who was tattered from head to toe. His stock would only rise with his endorsement from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson after deciding to wear the number 94 in honor of the former Miami graduate. Over the next 4 years, he made appearances in 47 games for the Hurricanes, featuring in some of college football's biggest spectacles. The Australian punter sent the football soaring 206 times, achieving an average distance of 45.2 yards per attempt, with a personal best of 67 yards. Impressively, he managed to place 77 punts inside the opposition's 20-yard line. In the previous year, he successfully executed 23 out of 46 punts within the opponent's 20-yard line, showcasing great consistency.
Start the ball game. Hedley's going to keep it on the feint. Look at the big guy from Australia take off. And Lou Hedley's got a first down for Miami.
His accolades were extensive, including being recognised 3 times as an all-conference player, even in 2022, following off-season leg surgery. Additionally, he holds the title of Associated Press's second-team All-American and was a finalist for the Ray Guy Award in 2020, which is bestowed upon college football's premier punter. He accomplished all this whilst picking up a bachelor degree in sports administration in 2021 and a master's degree in liberal studies last year with a GPA of 3.9 out of 4. Pretty remarkable for a guy who didn't finish school. Hedley chose to forego his last season of eligibility with Miami to declare for the NFL draft, the Aussies' ultimate goal. Despite being one of the best punting prospects available, at 30 years of age, the likelihood that Hedley was going to be drafted was slim. An average of just 2 punters is selected each year, and after 7 rounds of selection, Hedley would not hear his name called. Although disappointing, Hedley had plenty to be grateful for, right? He completed his full-ride scholarship with multiple degrees, living the life of a Div 1 collegiate athlete, an accomplishment very few of us can attest to. Well, luckily for Hedley, that narrative could be scrapped, as just hours after the draft, the Australian punter signed with the New Orleans Saints. The job wasn't done though, as Hedley would have to face off with the incumbent Saints punter, Blake Gilligan. Hedley would impress in training camp, and on the 30th of August 2023 was announced as the punter for the New Orleans Saints, making the final 53-man roster cut. This moment was a culmination of 7 years of dedication as Lou Hedley became officially an NFL player. The Aussie signed a $750,000 guaranteed deal, which equates to 1.1 million Australian dollars, a salary that rivals the AFL and NRL's highest earners. The story of Lou Hedley is not only extraordinary, but somewhat relatable. Just a guy from regional Australia who just continued to make the most from life by continually working hard and taking his opportunities. A true Aussie success story. If you enjoyed that video, press the like button. If you want more alpha content, subscribe. I know it's been almost 9 months since my last video, but I just want to say thank you for all the viewers that have returned. Expect consistent uploads to the channel in the near future. So let me know down below what you want to see next.